I thought we'd talk about Black Ariel, which isn't terribly controversial.
My queen.
I don't have any particular investment in Ariel. I don't give a damn. But Black Aragorn, I think not.
Yeah, I've got some more feelings.
Actually, yeah, I got some much stronger feelings on that. And this is something that hit the internet like an absolute whirlwind a couple of days ago. I was going to cover it yesterday, but I decided to save it for today because I thought you might enjoy it more than Peter Boghossian. But it's as awful and embarrassing as you'd think. And so I thought we'd go through the arguments for Black Aragorn and Black Ariel.
These are going to be great, aren't they?
They're going to be brilliant.
Watertight.
You are a racist. You're going to be told over and over and over.
Are we out of arguments? Is that it?
Yes. You're going to be told a lot that you're a racist, so be prepared for that. Anyway, before we begin, the reason this is important is because of the concept of representation. Honestly, I can't emphasize enough how proud I am to have done this book club because this is so useful to know. What does representation really mean? No one ever really explores it, and what it means is to make present something that is otherwise absent. Bear that in mind as we go through this segment, what is being made present and what is being made absent. So let's begin with The Little Mermaid is black and Vox is tired of, and the Lord of the Rings, and they're extremely tired, Callum, of discussing it. It's like, well then, don't do it.
Stop promoting it.
Yeah.
Leave the left.
It's not like there aren't plenty of like black characters.
Post a YouTube video on Vox.com. Why I left the left by the CEO of Vox.
What, Matty Iglesias, is it?
I don't know who it is.
He's insufferable. But the point is, you knew this was coming. We knew this was coming. This was from 2022 because this has been announced a while back. But now the media is out and everyone's talking about it. But they knew, everyone knew, because this is just one of those, like, there are two trenches. You know, there's no man's land between those two trenches, both filled with people with metaphorical guns, and this line is not moving anywhere. You know, you run across, you're just going to get shot down by the other side. It's literally World War One. Awful, right? But in media form over blackwashing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's go to The Little Mermaid first, right? So look at how this is being jury rigged. It's being actually rigged, right? So let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Just 100% there.
95 is nearly North Korean levels of wonderfulness that this movie has. Right? Now, I'm always a bit suspicious when the critic reviews on the left are 68%. I mean, that sounds about reasonable, actually. You know, it's a live-action remake of a beloved classic. It's probably terrible, right? And that's not even before you get into any of the...
I just realised those are the wrong way around. Why is the audience score so high?
Well, exactly, right? The critics are actually taking quite a clear-eyed view on this, being like, wow, I mean...
I can't get it lower than a 5.
Yeah. Well, no, they're actually being relatively critical of it because there have been a bunch of clips that have gone around, which I won't play because of copyright reasons. And, oh my God, it looks abominable. Like,
Is it the Seagull song?
Yes. It's not for me, so I'm not going to be like, this is, but oh man.
It is terrible.
It looked terrible. But look at that audience score. That is really, really weird. But John, can you click on that audience score for me? Yeah. And then you see that verified audience versus all audience. Huh. So when you pick out 5,000 of the 5 stars, you get a 95% audience score. But when you get the 25,000 audience ratings, it goes down to about 57%, which is a lot less good. Weird that though, isn't it? That they've decided to start actually rigging the ratings. And people have been noticing this. There's an article talking about it. That literally, like, hang on a second. You're actually screwing with this?
QTs, 100% audience score. Everyone loves it.
100% critic score.
Too, yeah.
But isn't that really weird? Like they've got to the point now where they realise that their Rotten Tomatoes rating is damaging the credibility of the movie. And so they're like, well, we'll just change it then. We will literally just filter out the negative audience reviews. Like, why? How desperate? Why not make a good film?
How much of a bribe do you think Rotten Tomatoes took?
Well, great question.
I mean, why else would you do it?
Yeah, really great question. Anyway, and so we can look at the trailer that came out a few months back, and you can see how
95% approval card. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's because remember the YouTube disabled dislikes. You can't see them. I actually don't have the browser extension on mine to show them, so I had to ask John how many dislikes has this got. So literally, that's what it's for. Well, 3 times as many. Literally, exactly 3 times as many. 1.2 million up, 3.6 million down.
We really do live in an almost North Korean-esque way of media these days.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
With Rotten Tomatoes and YouTube just being like, yeah, no, there is no dissent.
Yeah, it's actually crazy, and this is actually where we live and how we interact with the media of our own civilization in genuine North Korean fashion.
There are no dislikes.
Yeah, there are no dislikes. 95% approval rating.
Everyone loves the dear leader. What are you talking about?
Exactly. Look at it. How could you not love it, right? And so the thing is, they understand. They've got to the point where they're like, hang on a second. We probably shouldn't be having this conversation because engaging in this dialectic is a losing proposition for us, right? They realize. No, literally. If you get to the Guardian article next, John, this was. Hang on. Why are we engaging in this culture war that we're obviously losing?
I mean, you've never been good at picking them, though.
Nope.
I mean, you guys were sitting there being like, well, maybe we should be paedophiles. I mean, that was a losing one as well.
Yep.
You still stood there being like, well, aren't they sexuality? Aren't they oppressed? Isn't Cuties a good movie?
But look at Stuart here. This film should clearly be ignored, then forgotten forever.
Oh, it's a bit racist.
That is, but also you can tell that he's like, no, we're not going to win this argument. We've got to just didn't happen because the right, if dare even say the right in this case, just normal people are just like, what are you doing?
What is a woman?
Yeah, why are you ruining these things?
But there are just like every argument they have these days is a completely losing stepping stone.
Yes, yeah, every single one, and that's why he's cleverly like, let's just not have it. Come on, guys, just.
We all know what happens.
Yeah. Anyway, so this film cost $250 million to make, not including advertising and things like that. Who knows how much they spent on advertising? But it did break $100 million at the box office on its first weekend of release. So like, yeah, look, mega success. It's like, it's not actually a mega success.
Great.
I mean, no. To get 100 million in America on the first weekend is the metric they use for, like, not a flop, right?
I think it's actually higher, but
Well, for some films, but no. I looked around.
depends on what you're spending.
Yeah, and in total, it got 164 million worldwide. So they're like, popular in America, not popular in the rest of the world.
How did the Chinese market take it?
Really badly.
Oh,
The Chinese actually
shocked by that.
The Chinese actually started using AI to make Ariel a different ethnicity.
The original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to close the gap between her eyes. I'm not even joking. I should have brought it up. I didn't think you were going to ask.
Is that the actress, or is because I did
It's
notice that
actually-
as well?
Well, they are fairly widely set, but people are being mean and moving them. But anyway, so this was quite interesting because there were some good questions raised by the New York Times. Do you want to just read that?
Disney's live-action remake of The Little Mermaid, with Hailey Bailey starring as Ariel as a diverse cast, reeks of obligation and noble intentions. Wesley Morris writes, joy, fun, mystery, risk, flavor, kink. They're missing. Was there meant to be kink?
I didn't think so.
Was there kink in the original?
Not to my knowledge.
I mean, Rule 34. But
It's been a few years since I've watched Little Mermaid, but I do not recall any kink in that children's film.
well, I mean, she goes into a clam where she lives, and there's the dungeon. You don't remember that scene?
Yeah, but
Sebastian's in there with his whips.
I view that as a form of torture and not a form of anything else.
Ariel didn't.
But yeah, so the New York Times was genuinely upset there was no kink in this children's film, which is really weird.
What were they expecting exactly?
They literally tell you exactly. We want joy, fun, mystery, risk, flavor, and kink.
Well, she was going to have sex with the
I don't know.
crab.
I don't know. But anyway, weirdly, there were a few fights that broke out during this film.
About the lack of kink?
I don't know. But you can see in the middle of the cinema people with dreadlocks
Yeah.
fighting.
Teens and young men.
Yep.
And
Scholars, cyclists.
locals.
Yeah.
Any other term we can use to avoid
Unemployed people.
the details of
Yeah.
the situation.
But for some reason they were having a fight in the theatre.
Yeah.
I mean, the film looks bad, but it doesn't look that bad. Anyway, moving on. Let's go on to the
Imagine
diversity.
fighting in a children's theatre.
God, what would I be fighting over? What would be the complaint?
I like the adults, they're invested in the movie or something. It's like you went to a kid's show.
But the thing is, though, okay, when you're watching like a Disney film, like one of the animated ones, you can enjoy the film. Usually the story is actually pretty good.
But I mean, usually you're there kind of ignoring it, and it's there for someone else,
Sure,
not
but
you.
But yeah, but like a well-told family film will be able to engage both the parents and the kids, right?
Yeah. I'm not denying that. What I'm denying is that you would go and then be
yeah,
like, "Oh, I'm watching Shrek. Shut up!"
Yeah,
and start fighting.
I wouldn't get angry about it if I was like, I went to the Super Mario movie with my son, and I didn't have a fight with any of the other dads in the audience.
Weird.
Anyway, let's move on to Lord of the Rings, because this is explicitly on purpose. They're like Aragorn, but black. Why? To save black people. They literally say, quote, "Some characters may look different from previous depictions, and that's intentional."
Oh, come on. Fuck.
Aragorn, but let me get out my marker.
What?
Asian Gandalf? Black Aragorn? You know what's interesting? Scroll down, that's Aragorn there. Scroll down, there he is. It's like a Netflix special.
You know he's a powerful black man because he's wearing all white.
King of Gondor right there. Kang of Gondor, sorry. But what's really interesting is that, so Aragorn could be black. And you know the Easterlings? They represent Middle Easterners. They can be white. They're the white ones.
They're in turbans.
Yes.
We're going to have white men in turbans.
Yes. Well, there's a woman in the card art, but they literally race swapped. So Gondor is black. The Easterlings are white. What the hell is going on? Why? How does this make any sense? Right. So, I mean, I feel like I should explain to Magic the Gathering, Wizards of the Coast, that skin color is dependent on the amount of sun that hits a particular area of the Earth in any given year, which is actually why Europeans have pale skin, because Europe has a remarkably low amount of sun. But if you look everywhere else on Earth, people have much darker tones of skin, and you can literally map the tone of a person's skin to the amount of sun that hits the Earth, and you will literally get a rough approximation of racial skin tones across the world.
But then why is there black people in America when there's also white people, Carl?
Great question.
Riddle me that.
Great question. History also has not happened. But they say great works of art, like Lord of the Rings, are only enhanced by having multiple interpretations of the world. It's only enhanced.
That's even makes... No.
We believe ours will bring joy to many, which it did to me particularly, because I'm not buying this. I mean, I love Magic the Gathering, but there's no way. Right? I love Tolkien. I love Magic the Gathering,
So
but I'm not spending a penny.
Gandalf Chinese now?
It looks like it. Yeah, he looks.
Did they race swap his horse like the Netflix guys did?
Oh, what?
as well?
Oh, yeah, that's another point, isn't it? Yeah, they gave him the black horse in.
I can't remember what movie. I think it's Beauty and the Beast. They race swap the
Little
horse
Mermaid.
from being white to black.
No, it's Little Mermaid.
Oh, it is Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Well, they race swap the horse as well. Even the horse. It's like, why? What's wrong with you? Anyway, this fresh update was a conscious choice made in partnership between Wizards and MWE. I don't know who that is, actually. And driven by two guided principles: diversity and originality.
Nothing original about that.
Hasn't been done before, though. Very original. I wonder what colour Sauron is. Or Saruman.
But they're all white now, presumably.
I mean, he literally was Saruman the White.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
So, anyway.
I don't know what you do with that.
Saruman of many colours. All takes on new connotations when you start putting it through this lens.
Coloured dream coat.
Yeah.
Turns out, hey, Gandalf.
No, in the 2021, do you remember when we did the Tolkien Society? Do you remember when we were like, Saruman, we need to talk about this queer character?
Yeah.
Like, he's not queer, you freaks.
I do want to do a redub of that scene when they meet each other, though, where Gandalf's trying to warn him about stuff, and Gandalf turns up with an overly, Chinese accent. And Saruman pops down with an overly camp accent. Just redub it.
Hey, girlfriend, yeah. Anyway, so after putting this out, and they say our hope is that more people will see themselves reflected in the characters, and that players and fans can find immense joy in telling these familiar stories through gameplay. Man, do you think that was the response? Do you think fans were like, yes, we can see themselves reflected in the game? No, of course not. Right? Everyone was effing furious about this, and understandably so, because this is them literally saying, look, we are deliberately going to pervert the things you love, and so here's someone who's not Aragorn with Aragorn's sword. Which really played into a certain stereotype, didn't it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, exactly.
You
Yes.
want to share with the class, or?
No, I better not, for propriety's sake. But this, if you can scroll down on the tweet, just so you can see the quote tweets. Yeah,
Quite a
3,500 quote tweets. I mean, there are lots of comments.
Worse.
Gondorians. This went down like an absolute lead balloon. Right, millions of people saw it. A lot of people were very angry about it, and I thought we'd go to David Levitt, a journalist,
Hmm.
he gave some very insightful critiques as to why you're wrong not to appreciate the new Black Aragorn.
I am an open-minded chap.
Yep.
I'm willing to hear
Well,
it.
he says the same racist Nazi F-ers who complained about the Black Elf in Rings of Power and the Black Mermaid in Little Mermaid are now throwing a fit because of the Black Aragorn in the new Lords of the Rings Magic the Gathering set. I effing hate how many racists there are in board game space. And then, literally, he's got this gigantic thread. If you just want to scroll down through this, I'm just going to summarize a lot of it. Racist Nazis losing their mind over Black Aragorn. I don't like that you're a racist. Racist little S. You're a vile racist. You're a worthless racist. It'd be a shame if Chris Anderson's employer and friends found out he's a racist. Imagine being this racist. Aragorn is a fictional character. You're a racist. Guess what? You're a racist. A wild racist just appeared. Tired of racists. This is a racist. Aragorn is trending because of racist. Only a racist would be
Really
upset
does
about
keep going on.
yeah, being called out. Aragorn is now the number 10 trend because racists are losing their mind over him being in a card game. Blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on.
Are you convinced? I'm
Like,
not.
Literally, this persuaded 0 people. Right. Like, it just kept going. And you could tell that he'd just been there all afternoon just calling people racist.
Does he have a job?
Well, I mean, I assume that is his job. So just to be clear, the problem isn't that people hate black people. The problem is people like Lord of the Rings. And Tolkien was not a fan of adaptations of Lord of the Rings because, of course, he was concerned about verisimilitude. How much does it represent and embody the thing that he had written, right? And, I mean, we can see in Tolkien's own words, if we go to letter 131 that he had written to Milton here, he literally says that he was simply trying to create what has been interpreted as a mythology for England, because he says all the sort of surrounding cultures, the Irish, the Welsh, the Scots, the Danes, the French, they've all got their own mythologies, but England actually lacks this kind of core mythology. And so he wanted to create a romantic story. He says, I had in mind to make a body of more or less connected legend, ranging from the large and cosmogonic to the level of romantic fairy story, the larger founded on the lesser, in contact with the earth, and the lesser drawing on the splendour from the various backcloths, which I could dedicate simply to England, my country. It should possess the tone and quality I desired, somewhat cool and clear, be redolent of our air, the clime and soil of the northwest, meaning Britain and the hither parts of Europe, not Italy or the Aegean, still less the East. And while possessing, if I could achieve it, the fair elusive beauty that some call Celtic, that is rarely found in genuine ancient Celtic things, it should be high, purged of the gross, and fit for the more adult mind of a land long now steeped in poetry. I would draw some of the great tales of fullness and leave many only placed in the scheme and sketched. The cycle should be linked to a majestic whole and yet leave scope for other minds and hands wielding paint and music and drama. Couldn't be more crystal clear the place in which this is set, right? I mean, it's literally set in the fucking Shire. We live in a Shire. Like, he's literally made this like, explicitly.
0 of them in Africa, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, you can see here, he says there was Greek, Celtic, Romance, Germanic, Scandinavian, and Finnish, but nothing English. He's literally explicit about
I mean,
this.
it did make me think when you were reading that. When was the last time they tried to race swap, I don't know, like the Trojan War movies? Or
No, they did do a Black Achilles.
did they actually do a Black Achilles?
Yeah. John, can you pull it up?
I didn't
Not
know
even
that was
joking.
real.
John, seriously, John, just Google Black Achilles and you'll find him.
Because that's just as ridiculous, like the mythology of the old world.
Yeah.
Romulus and Remus, they was Kangs too. Oh, they've
I
done
bet.
Cleopatra, so
Yeah, they've done Cleopatra.
they really are trying to destroy all mythology.
Yeah.
Ever.
They're just... It did, you know, your history is gone. It's someone else's history now.
Whose is it? These people we don't even have any reference for because we've
There
made
you
them
go.
up.
There's Black Achilles. BBC drama. I mean, you never heard about it because no one was interested in it. Because it didn't represent the thing they were trying to represent.
Imagine a Greek saying this. Just thinking, what?
That's Stelios. Do you feel represented, Stelios, in your history and mythology?
Yeah.
It's just anyway.
We found an American black man.
Yeah.
So,
And the things you might be like, well, I mean, did he explicitly say that Aragorn was white? It's like, well, I mean, he said it was set in England, but yes, he also did say
in the
that.
ancient world. Of,
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing. Tolkien wrote this to be like a history. If we go to the next one, some people just started tweeting like literal quotes from Lord of the Rings.
Pale, stern face.
Yes. A pair of keen grey eyes, dark hair flecked with grey, and a pale, stern face.
Black man.
Pretty explicit.
He was a pale black man.
Yep. So I replied to David Levitt and said, look, the problem is there is no such thing as a black Aragorn. Tolkien describes Aragorn as having pale skin, long hair, and I said green eyes, but I meant grey eyes. This character does not match the description and is transparently a skin suit for your wacky leftist ideology. We won't have it. He didn't take that well. He carries on arguing with me. There is a black Aragorn now, Carl, so deal with it. No, there's not. Not a very well-received tweet. Yes.
In your head, maybe?
Yeah. And then he just carried on arguing, and he got to some great arguments. Fictional characters set in a fantasy world don't need a scientific explanation. We've arrived at the... Why didn't the hobbits just drive to Mordor in their Bugattis position?
Well, there does need to be some canon.
Yes. But it also needs to make some sense, right? But, like, literally... In fact, go back to the tweet. I probably tweeted underneath that. Yeah, why not? Doesn't need to make scientific sense.
You can't accept dragons, elves, and talking trees, but you can't accept a 2021 BMW 5 Series 530i with optimal heated steering. Why are you so bigoted? That's a pretty good post.
That's a great quote, a great question. You know, why not? Indeed. And the answer is, of course, found in Aristotle. I will reference my own writing on this, the Politics of Warhammer 4000.
Without shame.
No, absolutely. I'm very proud of this, actually. In his Poetics, Aristotle argues that the value of narratives is they are a rhetorical argument about reality. So if these things were as the author has premised them, the events would play out as the author is implying. And so there does actually need to be a coherent and logical reason for this to occur. So if Frodo and the other hobbits roll up to Mordor in a Bugatti or whatever it is in a BMW, that will actually destroy the illusion that I am making a rhetorical argument about reality, because of course that would be illogical and ridiculous. That's why, David, just in case you've never read a book. Anyway, let's carry on some more weak objections. I found some more. Actual comment, Aragorn's not African. No. And in fact, you say, he's Númenórean, which is a little island off the coast of a fictional effing place. But you were good with dragons, elves, dwarves, invisibility, and massive disembodied eye, but the melanin is a bridge too far. Yeah, because I don't really think that these people were black, because Tolkien said they weren't black.
It's a big argument. That's more convincing than use racist, I'll be honest.
I mean, we could go back to David Levitt. I mean, he's got some thoughts on it. The next one, the skin tone of the Númenóreans matters exactly to the plot. 0%, to the plot. They could be polka dotted and striped for all it matters. But it's not about the plot. Why would I want to watch a bunch of polka dotted Númenóreans? I mean, it's not exactly going to draw me into the world, is it?
It would be pretty weird if the original story was about a bunch of Smurfs.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I mean, I couldn't take it as seriously, for one.
Especially if it just wasn't mentioned. Why do they all have blue skin? What do you mean, why? You know, it's just the way they are. Yeah, it's not about
It's a mythology for England. What are you asking?
Yeah, duh. This thing, it's not about the plot. It's about how I feel when I'm watching it, and I don't feel that it's convincing. And if I'm not brought into the rhetorical argument by the artistic verisimilitude of what is being presented, then I won't enjoy it. The next one is, well, on all the galaxy-brained appropriation takes, who is precisely being appropriated from?
But you, from us.
English mythology.
Yeah.
Like, we, us, the English, we're being appropriated from. Constantly, apparently.
It's not even a difficult question.
No, exactly. It's a really interesting question, right? And so we get to the White Wakanda. Remind me again, where is Wakanda located? Oh, right, in Africa, on Earth, based on real peoples.
No, it's not.
But even if... Okay, no, he's right. That is. Wakanda is based in Africa, on Earth. And the Shire is based on England, on Earth. Like, Tolkien says... I mean, there's a reason that the shape of the thing is roughly the shape of the British Isles, right? It's meant to be an ancient history of these things.
I know, it's just the Wakandan thing is kind of...
I'll let him have it.
It's a really bad version, because it's not like medieval Africa.
No, it's modern.
Instead, it's this thing that never existed in any sense.
But it's fine. We'll let him have it. Because, like, yeah, Wakanda, it's Africa. People live in Africa. Who lives in Europe? Us? What do you want? Like, it's literally us.
New Europeans live in Europe, Carl. That's the only people who've ever lived in Europe.
Which is why they're all on TV. Anyway, and to top this one off, you'll find that the next James Bond, guess what he's going to be? He won't be an Englishman.
I'm really looking forward to a Panjit, I'll be honest.
Indian James Bond?
Yeah.
Yeah, I sound.
Oh, bloody. Friend of mine did actually make there's a thread. I'll see if I can actually read any of them publicly. But no, I can't. No, no, Miss Bond. We are not going to finna roll the dice, as it were. It's just so much of one of those. Can't read them.
I assume that the arch villain would literally be a racist.
Presumably.
Like he's not like some evil villain who's going to blow up the world or something, or put England in danger. He's literally going to be a racist. And Black James Bond is going to...
That's the plot.
I assume it's going to be Idris Elba.
How do we destroy racism? If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the Contemplation series, this episode on Victorian manners and etiquette. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.